Well, happy holidays, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's Harry Brelsford for the world's largest MSP holiday party that we do every year with the emphasis on geek and fun. So thank you for joining us. Ginny, next slide, please. Ginny, do we have the next slide up?
It is up.
Okay, I'm running on a slow connection out here on the south end of the island. So, folks, for those of you that don't know us, 3 slides real quick. Celebrating 18 years in business as SMB Nation, and it's because of you and your support. Jenny, next slide, please, and let me know when that comes up.
We're up.
All right. If you're not familiar with SMB Nation, we participate in the industry in a variety of capacities in terms of participating in award events as well as trade associations like CompTIA. Next slide, please, Jenny.
Next slide is up.
Okay, so we're featured in a number of publications and participate with fellow media organizations. Again, this is for people who may not know SMB Nation. Jenny, let's go to the introduction slide. Then we're going to get into the fun stuff right after that. Thank you, Jenny. And once again, my name is Harry Brelsford from SMB Nation. Jennifer Hallmark, the president of SMB Nation. She runs the program day to day. She's on the line in the radio control room. We're trying a couple of different things today. For example, I should be coming in live on a video camera, my web camera to you. That's new for us. I got my geek hat on and an old-fashioned SMB Nation banner in the background. Jennifer Hallmark, again, is over in the radio control room. And most importantly, we want to thank you for supporting SMB Nation throughout the year and the years. Next year, going to switch it up a little bit. I'll talk about that towards the end of end of today. And today's show is dedicated to Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Jenny, if you can let me know, go ahead and bring up the shout-out slide and let me know when that's up.
It's up, Harry.
Thank you. So this wouldn't be possible without our beloved sponsors and supporters. So a shout out to MyCloud IT, making sure robots will not take your MSP job, as well as SureWeb with our new podcast series. And we're going to go ahead and get you links if you'd like to learn more about MyCloud IT and SureWeb. And I'd like to almost think of Blue Ribbon Buttermilk Biscuits coming out of Lake Wobegon, but unfortunately they're not an official sponsor. So Jenny, let's get to Geek Trivia. Let's just jump right into it. Actually, you know what, Jenny, if we could go to the Geek Trivia slide, or I'll go ahead and read that to the people. Go ahead and keep that up, folks. This is one of the questions. You're going to have approximately 20 questions. Please answer ASAP. This is what the questions will look like. We're going to analyze the answers on the back end, and a winner gets an UMA phone system for use or resale. We'll announce that in the thank you follow-up. I was going to say, let's get started, and clearly we already have. So what I'm going to try to do, you know what trivia contests are when you go out at night. They usually play music at this point. So folks, let's give it a shot. The first question's on. Let me see if I can get Alexa resume. Oh, Jenny, we're having a bad Alexa day. Go ahead and close this one out. The question was a geek question. Close it out. Jenny, let's see the results. And Jenny, maybe if you could read those to me if they're not present on my screen. As you know, I'm kind of having too much fun here with the webcam.
And unfortunately, Harry, because I am the presenter and the slide deck is on my screen, I don't see the answers, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do it. No problem, Jenny. So If you can go ahead and close that out. In the spirit of bandwidth, I've gone ahead and closed out my camera, buy back a little bandwidth out here in the countryside.
You should be seeing it, Harry. If not, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, I have 0% voted. Let's see if that's open, Jenny. Okay, that did close. And unfortunately, I'm not. Okay, thank you, Jenny. There's the slide, folks. Let's give it a shot with, well, first of all, let me tell you what the answer was to number one. The answer was Brave New World. You now have number two. In the Star Trek universe, what is the name for the warp speed starship tactic that employs faster than optical solution? If you could answer that, folks, appreciate it. Jenny, illusion, faster than a light optical illusion. And if you could please vote on that, folks. And now I'm getting the results. Very good, very good. So Jenny closed that out. 60% of the people picked the Picard maneuver, and in fact, that's the right answer. So Jenny, we have geeks here today. Let's go to the third question. Thank you, Jenny. Tribbles, the soft and adorable creatures from the Star Trek universe, are known to produce which response in Klingon? If you could vote, folks. Boy, Jenny, we got a smart audience. They're trending in the right direction. And Jenny, if I could have you mute out, if you don't mind, please. All right, folks, 61% of you voted. If you could go ahead and wrap that up. I'm going to give Alexa one more shot today. Alexa, resume.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
Alexa, pause. All right, so folks, that's good enough for government work, and yes, the answer was screaming and convulsing. So we go on to the next one, and it is the term to boldly go where no one has gone before was inspired by, folks, if you could go ahead and vote, about 35% of you in. Alexa, resume.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
Running about 65% voting right now. Folks, go ahead and cast your vote.
I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Alexa, pause. And the answer was Gene Roddenberry's, I'm sorry, forgive me, I'm looking at the poll results. The official answer is a government pamphlet on space exploration. Next question, please. Alexa, pause. 67% of you voted for Gene Roddenberry's wife, and in fact, it's the government pamphlet. All right, the next question is, which comedic author was also a staff writer on Doctor Who in the 1970s? If you could vote. Alexa, resume.
Feliz Navidad, prospero año y felicidad. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry
Alexa, pause. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close out. Which English comedic author was also a staff writer in Doctor Who? The answer is Douglas Adams. 23% of you got that right. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next one, Jenny. Folks, will we be able to take questions at the end of the trivia contest that you may have on the industry? The next question is, In the 1999 movie Muppets in Space, which Muppet is revealed to be a space alien? Folks, if you could go ahead and vote. Alexa, resume.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
Alexa, pause. All right, we have 76% of you have voted, and indeed the answer is Gonzo. We have quite a smart geek audience here today. 54% of you went with Gonzo, 31% with Beaker, 8% with Kermit, 8% with Animal. Thank you very much. Jenny, next question, please. The name of the Galaxy Quest character played by actress Gwen DeMarco, who is played by Sigourney Weaver, is, and if you could go ahead and vote, folks. Alexa, resume.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
Alexa, all right, so we have the votes in that we're going to need, and the answer was Lieutenant Tawny Madison, and that was 23% of your votes. 31% came in as Captain Maurice Tanker, and 38% was Lieutenant Angie Murray. The answer is Tawny Madison. Next question, please, Jenny. Before Torchwood's Captain Jack Harkness is tethered to Earth and immortal, but what originally was Captain Jack Harkness? If you could vote, folks. A little bit of music. Alexa, resume. Alexa, pause. Alexa's acting up now. All right, so the proper answer for Captain Jack Harkness is a con man from the 51st century. So that's 42%, tied with a ditch digger. Thank you very much. Jenny, when you're quite ready for the next question, please. The question is, in 19th century North America, the word geek referred to what kind of popular amusement? And the votes are coming in right now. I'm going to give you-know-who one more try. Alexa, resume. Alexa, pause. Bad. All right, I think we've had the votes come in. There we go. So the answer on the term geek was indeed freak shows and traveling carnivals at 77%. Most people answered that properly. Thank you very much. And we're ready for the next question. Jenny, when you bring it on up at the screen. What model of Terminator is sent back to eliminate Sarah Connor? Sarah Connor elimination. If you could go ahead and vote, folks. And again, thank you so much for participating in the world's largest MSP holiday party. We're just days away from Christmas if you celebrate. We're in Hanukkah right now. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll let a few more votes roll in. By the way, if you're not familiar with MSP Tech Talk, go to smbnation.com, upper banner, MSP Tech Talk, join us winter quarter. All right, we'll go ahead and close out the voting. And the voting, 80% was the T800 Model 101. And that's absolutely true, the T800 Model 101. Thank you very much. Jenny, next question, please. Oh my, having too much fun out here on the south end other than my internet connection. Jenny, I wonder if this has to do with that whole net neutrality thing, but let's not go there. So when we have the next question come up, the question is, where does the Infinity Gauntlet reside? Where does the Infinity Gauntlet reside? Jenny, if you can help me out, since I am having some internet isms, is the next question on the screen? Sorry to bother you.
Yes, we are sharing the results right now.
Okay, and the answer for the Infinity Gauntlet reside was Odin's Trophy Room. Odin's Trophy. So the question was, where does the Infinity Gauntlet reside? And it was Odin's Trophy Room. We move on. What is the name? Yeah, thank you. What is the name of Blue Guy's ornate spectre? And the result on that is galore. That was 90%. Good going, guys. Good going, guys. 9 out of 10 of you got that. Next question, please, Kenny. Where does the Infinity Gauntlet reside? And we have the choices of Justice League Watchtower, Odin's Trophy Room, Fort No, and Fortress. And indeed, as I indicated earlier, folks, thank you for playing with us. It's Odin's Trophy Room. Where does the Infinity Gauntlet reside? Odin's Trophy Room. Thank you, Jenny. Next question, please. The question will be, who is Humanoid Plateau's trusty robot companion? Who is Humanoid Plateau's trusty robot companion? If you could go ahead and vote, folks. We have about 40% of the vote in. Go ahead and take a sip of your favorite beverage while we're playing. Out here in Seattle, it would be coffee, Jenny. It's too early in the day for other things. And we still have a couple votes rolling in. And there we go. 70% of you answered Gort. 70% of you answered Gort. And indeed, that's the right answer on who is Humanoid Plateau's trusty robot companion. All right, Jenny, if you could bring up yet the next slide. What species is Pretty Boy Predator from? What species is Pretty Boy Predator from? We'll let those votes roll in. By the way, in 2018, you can look forward to seeing us at the Channel Pro events, 4 events from our friends over at Channel Pro SMB. All right, the votes have rolled in, and boy, you guys are good, man. The answer is Yacha, and 50% of you got that. Very good, very good. Jenny, when you have a moment to go ahead and go to the next question, we're just rolling right through them. What spacecraft does the Robinson family man? What spacecraft? Robinson family. And the voting is in process. We're collecting responses. Boy, you guys who are out there, the guys and gals that are out there participating, you really should avail yourself of some of these trivia contests with Geeks Who Drink. They often play this game at TGIF Fridays, etc., TGIF. And the answer, overwhelmingly, 85% is Jupiter 2. Jupiter 2, that is the correct answer. Man, Jenny, this is gonna be tough. I think we may have multiple winners and have to spin the magic wheel for the prize of an UMA phone system shipped to you. All right, next question, please, Jenny. The $6 million man. And we'll be bringing that up momentarily. What organization paid the $6 million man's bills? And we have the votes rolling in. 64% have voted. We're on a roll here, folks. Go ahead and close it out. And indeed, 64% voted. And amazingly, 64% out of 100% is the Office of Scientific Investigation. That's absolutely true. I'm impressed. Guys, we got to do this more often. Maybe we can have spring break. Jenny, I'm thinking that might be fun if you want to make a note. Let's do Geek Spring Break and do another trivia session. All right. The next question, please, about Spock. I'm sorry, Kit. Kit is the next question. What make and model was Hot Rod Kit? Boy, that's going to date a couple of us. I'll tell you that right now. We have the voting rolling in. We're collecting responses. 59% have voted. Folks, if you could go ahead and cast your vote. What make and model was Hot Rod Kit? 64% voted. Okay. Jenny, go ahead and close it out. And indeed, 76% of you voted correctly for the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. 76%. Thank you very much. Two more questions, folks. Then we're going to have a little bit of time to take some of your questions. Two more questions. Jenny, if you could bring up Spock. There we go. How did Spock kick the bucket? How did Spock kick the bucket? We have over half of you voted. We're trending well. I'll share that trending with you in just another second or two. Okay, Jenny, go ahead and close it out. And indeed, 65% of you answered radiation poisoning. Radiation poisoning, and that is the correct answer. Got one more question. Then we're going to go into Q&A with a twist. So I think you're going to like how we're certainly going to try to do it today. We'll give it a shot. Stand by a couple slides. One last question, Jenny. The Cyclones, who partnered with the Cyclones to exterminate the human race. And if you could vote, folks, let's gather results. Jenny, if you can double check that that is open, my friend. There we go. We are collecting responses. Folks, another couple seconds. And indeed, The proper answer was Gaseous Vulture. Folks, you are amazing. I can't wait to see the data. Jenny, if you could go back to the slide deck where it says Greek Trivia with the coffee cup. Actually, that might be a beer mug. Thank you for playing the 2019 questions, actually. So, first of all, a shout out to Geeks Who Drink. Please make yourself familiar with Geeks Who Drink, an organization that holds trivia contests online and also in bars. And so that's pretty cool. Like I say, I've seen them at TGIF Fridays. I want to have you hold your glasses high. Jenny, if you could go to that next slide, thank you. Hold your glasses high for a holiday toast for Dilly Dilly. It's been a great year in 2017, and by all indications, 2018 will be even better. I'm going to give you an example. I had a good talk this morning with our friends over at D&H Distributing, and they are primed to help you with the end of life for Server 2012. Server 2012, they're primed in 2018 to assist you with the migration of your choice off of Server 2012. So Dilly Dilly. Jenny, if you could go to the next slide, and I'm going to explain a couple of things about the questions I'm happy to take. Unfortunately, our two panelists were literally on planes today. Literally. We have one panelist who is on his way to Phoenix, and another panelist who is on his way to Hawaii. So you got just me. Now, what we want to do today with the Community Corner, and Jenny's going to moderate this, but if you could raise your hand if you have a question. Jenny, if you're cool over in the control room, but if you could raise your hand if you have a question. I see Keith Nelson. Keith Nelson has raised his hand. And what we're going to attempt to do is take you live with your voice, to have a dialogue with myself. This is me. Keith out there?
Yes, it is. I'm in Sacramento on a legislative visit.
Well, Keith, thanks for playing with us today. Where are you? Are you down in Southern California in your homeland?
No, I'm in Sacramento on a Department of Developmental Services meeting, and then I'll be back home and maybe headed to New York to see my daughter dance at the Lincoln Center.
Well, there you have it. And for folks that don't know Keith Nelson, Keith and I, we've been here on Sundays with the NFL football game, the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, and Keith and I play back and forth on the different calls. Keith, those referees, they keep cheating, no doubt about it.
Well, and that leads me to my question. I was wondering if this weekend, if Harry's going to be a true American and support America's team, or kind of support Putin's boys in this weekend's game.
Well, I think I'll support America's team because, yeah, Seattle's out of the running, my friend. Seattle's out of the running, so we're not loving life this last 2 weeks. Oh well, it's time to rebuild, my friend. Hey Keith, happy holidays! Thanks for coming on live, doing the good work up in Sacramento for causes you care about. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a blast. And
all right.
Next, and I'll introduce you to our new project, the Nehemiah Project. Early in the year, we're doing a documentary for the Netflix and the Oprah Network, and we were just covered on Extra. And it's to help age child foster youth. And it's a real big deal we're doing now.
Man, you do the work of angels. Thank you so much. Have a great holiday. Jenny, I see we have Carl Katz. Thanks, Keith. Carl Katz, you've raised your, Carl Katz had a question. Hang on. Folks, use the hand raiser if you'd like to go live. And maybe we can even get Carl Katz. Carl, are you willing to come on live with voice? Now, I've never known Carl to be shy. Oh, he says okay. There we go. Carl, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, for people who don't know Carl Katz, first of all, where are you located? Tell us about the book you wrote, and what commentary or questions or value would you like to add to our holiday party, my friend?
Oh, geez, you're catching me off guard. I wrote IT Consulting Secrets. I live in near Vancouver, Canada, and yeah, you know, I'm drawing a blank. I'm just drawing a blank, you know.
Well, Carl, I'm going to ask you a question because you've been active up on our SBS Facebook group, and you posted something provocative the other day about you're not going to use Windows 10. Could you clarify and explain that if you don't mind?
Well, you know, I realize now that because of the way Microsoft has been releasing subsequent feature releases and versions, that the driver base changes. So to stay with the most recent hardware, you're gonna have to order it. But I just don't like the way, you know I'm not alone. I just don't like the way Microsoft has been doing business and forcing the issue because they're a monopoly. You know, I mean, gotta use them. You know, but it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. You know, when you don't have a choice. But I suppose I'll have to suck it up. Yep.
Well, the times are a-changing, my friend. Hey, any news for 2018 with your MSP consulting practice? Any new product lines, directions? What are you hearing and seeing up in Vancouver, BC?
Yeah, I'm just morphing my practice over to MSP, and I actually thought that one of my first clients was going to be Carl's cloud business model, and it's actually going to be just a more traditional MSP agreement. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing and pushing and promoting Carl's. I did his course, managed services in a month, and one of the main things in that is his cloud-based offering. So I'm going to be actually promoting that this coming year.
Yep. Well, Carl, have a fantastic. Are you with your kids, Carl, for the holidays?
No, unfortunately, my son is traveling the world in Europe. He's starting university next year, and the year off between high school and university, he's traveling the world, and his mother and sister actually going to visit him in Italy.
Oh boy!
Yep. And my girlfriend is back home in the UK visiting her family, so I'm going to New York City and leaving on Christmas Day to visit my mom and stepdad. I'm going to be back New Year's Day, so yeah. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, give them both my greeting. Well, both your children and your mom and stepdad. I fondly remember our visit in Phoenix. Thank you, Carl.
Yep.
Have a great time. Hey, I'd like to elevate David Maitland. David, are you willing to come on? You had a question? Are you willing to raise your hand and come on live? We'll see if we can bring David up. Okay, David says he's good. Okay, David, no problem. Hey, Don Elam. Don, are you willing to come on live? I'd like to ask you a couple questions about last week. Don Elam. Oh, David says he has a sore throat. Amen, brother. Amen, David. Get well. We'll see if we can bring Don Elam up. Don and I worked together last week in a focus group over at Fortinet in Sunnyvale, California. Hey, Don, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Don, thanks for joining us. And also last Tuesday in Sunnyvale at Fortinet. For those listeners that aren't familiar with what we did on Tuesday, in your own words, would you mind sharing what the focus group was and, quite frankly, what your experience was with the focus group?
Oh, we spent a nice couple hours at Fortinet, and I wasn't familiar with them, so it was great to see the actual offices. We got a nice tour. We had presentations. We had good interaction with all the attendees as they gave their backgrounds and things. It was a nice event. Good use of 3 hours, even though the commute's always tough.
Yeah. Well, you're in the Bay Area. What part of the Bay Area do you live in? Just to give people a reference, Sunnyvale's in the Silicon Valley. Are you in a different part of the Bay Area?
I'm in the city of San Francisco, so it was about an hour drive for me, and almost a 2-hour drive back. It just depends on the time of day. So.
Oh, I know. Good Lord. You guys have traffic, my friend. Hey, Don, if you don't mind staying live, because maybe if we get a couple more questions, since you participated in the focus group and so on, maybe you can be my right-hand man if we get some MSP questions, if you don't mind staying on.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, great. And I have a hand raiser from Fred Scher. Fred, are you willing to come online and ask the question that you might have? Looking for Fred Scher.
Hi there, who's Fred?
Hey, Fred. So you're on with Harry and Don. Sir, what is your story? First of all, where are you and what is your story?
I'm in Oradell, New Jersey, and at this point I'm winding down. I'm semi-retired, and I'm wishing you could get out of a tunnel and put a microphone on you.
I can. Hold on. No, that's fine. Since I'm off camera, let me go to a headset. Hold on. That's a fair request.
You're on camera.
Oh, I'm on camera. Oh, no. Ah! Well, it's a good thing I didn't do anything horrible or disgusting. Is this better? Is sound better?
1,000 times better.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hey, any questions or observations or forecasts for 2018? Or if you raise your hand to say improve the sound quality, so be it, my friend.
I just think that diligence, and I hate to use the word hard, but diligence and keeping after your potential customers is what will pay off.
Yeah, I agree. I really do. You know, quite frankly, we can throw analytics and all the modern stuff at it. But at the end of the day, if Jenny and I have learned anything as we start our 19th year, Fred, taking care of existing customers is the easiest sale and path to profitability. And we really focused on that in 2017. You know, instead of maybe trying to light the world on fire, we took a half a step back, quite frankly, and we said, let's just do a better job of executing and fulfilling what we said we would do, and that's paying off. I don't know if it's more than cold calling, but it's certainly for us, it's the right path. Does that make sense, Fred?
Absolutely, and it works in every industry.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a great have great holidays. And Jenny, if you could bring up Hal Hostetler. Hal, longtime friend of the family. If you're willing to come online, my friend, I see a question mark from you. If you're willing to come and let's get this party started, man. The MSP office party.
Well, mostly I'm just here to say hi and Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and all that other good stuff. Long time not see. Hopefully I get to see you at the summit next in a couple of months.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's actually a valid question. When is the MVP summit in Redmond or in the Seattle area, my friend?
The MVP summit is the 4th through the 8th. Actually, I think it's the 4th through the 7th. Okay. With all sorts of stuff happening on the Saturday before. There's usually a people go out and build houses or some other charitable event that all the MVPs get involved with. Sunday is registration. There will be activities there. There will be a lot of activities that night for new MVPs and folks that are just trying to get together and see each other. Then, of course, the hot and heavy starts Monday through basically Thursday morning, when it's session after session after session after session, and with entertaining events during the evenings. There's usually a pot-up group session where the MVPs separate out into their primary disciplines: office, servers, developers, that kind of thing, and talk to their leads direct. And there's usually one big gathering at the beginning of the event that is a mixer for everybody, which usually takes on the several floors of the Hyatt. And it used to be in years past there was a closing party. There haven't been for 2 years, though I've heard some rumblings that there might be one this year, which would be just awesome. And,
hey, Hal,
that would be like,
yeah, Hal, 2 questions, and then we'll move on. And thank you for attending our party. So, Hal, where are you located, and what is your MVP? What is your MVP designation?
Right now, my MVP designation is Outlook. That's part of Office Servers and Services.
And where are you located, my friend?
My hometown, really. Well, actually, not my hometown, but where I've lived my whole life, Tucson, Arizona. MVP designation has changed over the years. I've been in the program now 21 years. It started out as personal operating systems. This is back in the Windows 95 going into Windows 98 days.
Scary.
It was personal operating systems. Then it became desktop systems. And then there was when Windows XP came up, then we were all Windows Experience. Then there was a little branch I got moved off on because I did mostly fax work with Outlook. Me and another MVP who's no longer with us by the name of Russ Valentine, did the Microsoft fax services, that lovely little fax utility that's built into every version of Windows that really is pretty doggone good. A little cranky perhaps, but it really works out quite well. You do need a modem, but what the heck, So,
there you go.
They say fax is a dead technology, but it ain't. It never will be. Way too many things going on in the court systems and government and so forth, where fax is it, period. Nobody knows about PDFs, signed, secured, or otherwise. So, and from then it's on to Windows Experience consumer desktop. And from there it went into Outlook, because mostly all I've done for the years I've been in there is Outlook anyway.
Yeah.
And so now I'm in Outlook.
Well, there you go. Well, Hal, thanks so much for letting us bring you on live. And Don, I have a question for you if you're still there. You still there, Don?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Don, because you've been really active in the community, I think of you typically from the user group point of view, but let's get some cross-pollination with the MVP community. So, Don, did you have the great pleasure of going to some of Jeff Middleton's migration workshops back in the day?
Oh, yes. Right.
Yep. That I thought that was a real good intersection between what would be sort of the MSP partners, user groups, oftentimes is as much of a business conversation as technical. And I thought Jeff Middleton really bridged that well with his migration kit.
What was the name of it? Now I can't remember the name of his. Well, I don't know.
The SBS migration kit. I mean, the website. Okay. Yeah, it's like sbsmigrations.com. Last I heard, Jenny, Don. Don Jenny talked to him several months ago, and apparently he's fat, sassy, and happy down in New Orleans, renovating a house and creating the next great thing. So he's alive and kicking. Good. Hey, let's Don, stay on the line. Let's bring in Rusty Brown in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Rusty, I see a question mark. Sir, you willing to come on live and have a little holiday chit chat with us? You of all people, kind of in the land of snow and Santa.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, Rusty. How's it going? Are you in Jackson Hole today, my friend?
I am. We're getting, we got about 4 inches of snow this afternoon. So, it's good stuff. I think it was the swing migration was what Jeff.
You're right. Oh, swing. Thank you. Boy, shame on me. Boy, I just lost the grand prize. Talk about geek trivia. Hey, Rusty, take a moment to introduce yourself and what is your story in terms of being an MSP? I've always been fond of you because you're out there where you can go ski. So I continue to be jealous. But for those of the people that don't know you, what's your story and what are you doing in 2018?
My story of MSP is I started, computer consulting back in the old NT4 days. With the original stuff, but, and I called myself a luxury IT consultant. mostly because of the wealth that we have in my valley. But I'm now merged with Dan King from Gillette, Wyoming. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, yeah, we manage. We do a lot of Office 365 stuff these days. So we're getting more and more into the cloud, as you know, and I'm pushing Microsoft 365. Now. Just migrated my first network to that here just a couple weeks ago, and learning all the ins and outs of dealing with that stuff.
Man, God bless you, man. That is really cool. We'll keep the light on because, I'm always threatening to come sofa surf and ski for a couple days out there. So as Motel 6 says, keep the light on, my friend.
It was a great year last year. That's mostly from hoses this year. So, we'll see how January provides.
Yeah, my son is skiing today at Stevens Pass, which is just north and I guess you call it east of Seattle. So, that's how Rusty, that's how the other half lives, right? While I'm sitting here slaving away.
As
thanks, Rusty.
You always know is that once the skiing gets good and the snow gets good, it's a 5-minute trip from my office to the hill. So love it.
I hear you 3 times, man. Trust me. All right. Well, thank you. Let's see. Hey, Stephen Dimming, don't know if you're willing to come online. I see that you're one of our participants, and you always carry the flag very, very nicely. If you're able, my friend, to come on and we can hear what you're up to, and maybe you can even impart some knowledge as to what Microsoft's up to. There you are. How you doing, Stephen?
Hey, Harry. How are you?
Good. Sir, where are you located today?
I'm at home. I'm technically on a day off here for the end of the year, but here in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area.
Perfect. If you don't mind, maybe introduce yourself for the audience that doesn't know you, and then if you can impart some wisdom in terms of Microsoft and maybe looking forward into 2018.
So I am a part of our partner technology strategist team. I support partners here in the East region, Mid-Atlantic, and basically north up to Maine. And my job is to help Microsoft partners understand where our technology is today, where it's going in the future, and ultimately how to better engage with Microsoft. And I get to do that on the technical side. And I've been a long time hanger-on with you, Harry. Wow. This is working on over 10, maybe 12 years working with you and in various capacities. So. And,
it's scary, my friend. My kids were very young and short when we started. I may not have even had kids.
So yes, following the saga of Harry all these years.
Well, hey, in 2018, I mean, if you don't mind, or what are we going to hear about Azure? Give it your best shot. What are we going to hear about
Azure? Obviously, yep. Azure and all of our online properties, that's the business focus. That's where the money is, engaging as a Microsoft partner. That's where the future of the business is. At the same time, though, the traditional on-premises components still have a play. I just came back from some partners in Central PA, and they're doing great business with traditional servers, desktops, and solutions, but at the same time, always keeping that eye towards the cloud.
Yeah, I can actually add value. So Stephen, I made mention of D&H distributing a few minutes ago, and I was on a half-hour analyst call. You'll enjoy this. It was 7 a.m. Pacific and 10 a.m. out on the East Coast. So it was, my first or maybe second cup of coffee. But what I was talking about with D&H was they just released. I call it almost an earnings report a few days ago. Now, it's not an earnings report because they're privately held, but it's as close as it gets with D&H, right? They were talking about their growth and this and that. And, I don't have a 10K statement to dig deep into, but I appreciate them kind of announcing where they landed in 2017 and what they're looking at in 2018. And one of the things I'm going to do in this week's Sunday paper They're actually getting me some more information and a second interview lined up because, Stephen, they're reporting in this press release that they had 36% growth in server products. And I pushed back a little bit. I said, whoa, God, D&H beats the street. They're going to get me a little bit of clarification in terms of where that growth came from. Because out here, Stephen, I'll be in Redmond tomorrow, so I'm a friend of the family, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at that scale. So either D&H beat the street, they have a secret sauce, or probably the real answer is what you just described as partners in central Pennsylvania still have an on-prem business. Does that make sense?
Well, and I mean, there's always going to be, it's that pendulum. It swings back and forth, and sure, it's swinging towards the cloud, but at the same time, there's still going to be customers who are looking for that more traditional approach. And it's important that partners recognize those are the tools. Do what's best for the customer, do what's best from an engineering point of view, and leverage whatever tools. And right now, the tools may be shifting one way, but there's still opportunity the other.
Yeah, and hey, can you fact check me so I don't get tweeted out as fake news later on, but can you fact check me on that end of life deadline for Server 12? That came up this morning, and I was going from the press release, so I'm not claiming I have two sources on that. A, is it announced? And B, what is the EOL for Server 12?
Well, so that one caught me a little bit by surprise because I haven't heard that as being a focus for us, but I'm pleased that somebody's looking at it. The rule of thumb is 10 years. I mean, and I know that that's shifting. We've got some motions in place to shift that 10 years.
Okay.
But the rule has been that 10-year, 5 years of full support plus 5 years of extended support, unless a product needs longer term. So I'd have to go to our support site to actually confirm what's happening with Windows Server 2012.
And fair enough, because it caught me off guard this morning as well. It is in print in their press release that they're looking for that to be an area of growth with a server refresh. And like you, I've got to go fact check myself if that makes sense.
I mean, if you look at it, 2017, this time frame would be the end of mainstream support, just not the extended support.
Yeah. Sir, thank you and have a great holiday season. I've got time for one more visitor. And Don, stay on the line just in case we get a hardball that I can't answer, or if you know the answer to that prior question. But Ron Hardy in Gig Harbor, Washington. Ron, a friend of the family. In fact, Ron, I'm gonna set that date to meet with you. Come online if you can, my friend. Jenny's gonna elevate you to voice, and let's have a little chit chat. There you are, Ron. How you doing?
Pretty good. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Oh.
And so, Ron, before you introduce yourself, I do want to sync with you. Boy, howdy. I'll sync with you offline, but I want to meet you down. What's that distillery down in Gig Harbor that I like so much where you can have a little sip of whiskey? It's Heritage?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well, that's okay, sir. I'll take you there. But Ron, you've been active in the IAMCP. You've been active in SMB Nation. Why don't you quickly introduce yourself and your business model? And then I want to talk to you about the IAMCP and why you're making some commitments to go to the luncheon and that kind of thing. But who is Ron Hardy?
Ron Hardy is, that's me. Big surprise. I have a company, Compass Research, another one, Compass Design. The second one I formed primarily as in order to take advantage of the Microsoft BizSpark program.
Yeah.
If you have a company that's less than a certain number of years old, then they have some perks, and those looked important to me, and in fact they have been. It has gotten me invited to a few things that otherwise I wouldn't have known about. that
Yes,
have
sir.
my business. The IMCP, I go to that to meet people and learn what's coming up. And again, it helps me to know what's in the pipeline, what things I need to know about. And in fact, it has helped my business just in some of the people that I've met there and the products that they offer or the services that they offer, because they've helped give me new ideas for my business. One thing I had done over the last year is spent some time with the City of Seattle, their land surveying department, and doing a proof of concept with them to improve what they're doing. They have new products in the surveying industry that will, it's almost like fantasy, what we've thought was fantasy for years, that take a laser scan of everything of your entire surroundings and then it'll map it out in a point cloud. But of course there's heavy computing going on between the laser scanning and the actual production of a point cloud that you could then drop into AutoCAD and start mapping with. And so that requires a great deal of, like I said, heavy computing. And rather than them buying the hardware to do this on, they can rent it from Azure.
Yep.
So I've been showing them how that could happen, that it was possible. And in fact, I showed them a 20% increase in productivity just by moving platforms. They were still using the same software to do all the crunching. Everything else was the same. It was only the platform that was different. And it eliminated their infrastructure problem.
No, that is actually a good story. That's actually a good story to take us out on. Don, do you want to wish the audience Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and so on? I'll let you take us out with the holiday greeting, then I'll do a wrap-up, my friend.
Yes, thanks for having me. This is a nice event, and happy holidays from the West Coast, where it's blue and sunny here. And I tried to make anybody jealous, but it's very nice. No, happy holidays to everybody.
All right. Don, thanks for participating in the Fortinet Security MSP Focus Group last Tuesday in Sunnyvale. Totally appreciate it. And hopefully, folks, we're going to do a couple more of those. So let me go ahead and wrap it up. Couple of things, folks. First of all, thanks for joining our annual online holiday. Raise your glasses high. Dilly dilly is the toast. You can look forward to the MSP Tech Talk Winter Quarter, our academic series that's proven popular. That starts in mid-January. If you want to go over to SMBNation.com and click the upper right banner, you're going to see Jenny, in particular, myself on occasion, on the Channel Pro circuit this year, along with some other announcements coming up. And again, we thank you for your support at SMB Nation. Hey, the times have changed, and as the one gentleman indicated earlier, that it's still business. It's still people doing business with people, even though I sometimes get a little sideways with analytics and mathematics, but at the end of the day, it's people, and we appreciate your support. On behalf of Jenny and myself, have a great holiday season. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.